Welcome to the Secrets of Confident Women podcast, where you'll learn all the best tips, tricks, and practical techniques for building the confidence levels you've always wanted. With inspiring interviews, real-life examples, and game-changing insights, this podcast is for women who know that mastering the skill of confidence is one of the most important things they'll ever do.
Hello everyone, this is your host Jodie Bruce Clark, and I'm really excited about today's episode because today we are talking about how to look good to feel good. So clothes and how I dress has always been one of the most important confidence techniques I use. Early on in life, I learned about the power of clothes and the important role they play in how they made you feel from my beautiful mother. She was a gorgeous, stylish woman who was an incredible seamstress. And because she never had much money, she learnt to sew herself beautiful clothes. She would make many of my clothes as a child, made my formal dress when I left school. I designed and she made a dress for my 21st birthday. And if she was still alive, I know she would have made my wedding gown. She could make almost anything, including tailoring beautiful suits. I remember as a teenager, we would go on shopping days to the city. We'd dress up and she'd take me to the 7th floor of the David Jones department store building where all the designer clothes were. Clothes that we definitely couldn't afford. We would look at the clothes with absolutely no intention of buying anything. And Mum would get ideas, make sketches on a notepad because, there was no mobile phone cameras in those days. And then she'd go home, make her own patterns and sew very similar outfits. When I started working, Mum used to always tell me to dress for your next position. And I always have. She knew how important it was that people around you see you in the next role, and how you dress plays a significant role in that happening. I'm very conscious about what I wear, ensuring that it's appropriate to the situation, that it's my style, and that I feel good in it. For example, I cannot wear puffy sleeves or anything with frills. It's just not my style. I steer away from certain colours, mainly because they clash with my red hair, and I ensure that I'm one of the best dressed in the room when I'm presenting to an audience. I also have some self-imposed clothes rules. 1, when I try something on, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. 2, if I don't feel good in it, I don't wear it. And 3, I don't just buy it because it's cheap, unless it meets rule 1 and it's a hell yes. We've also talked many times on this podcast about how important high heels are to me. Now, it might not work for you, and that's okay, but a great pair of high heels absolutely makes me feel more confident and gets my head in the game. I walk better, I stand better, and I feel more powerful. I always do presentations in heels, and I generally coach my clients, yes, even in the online sessions, with my feet in heels under the desk. I know they can't see them, but it's how I feel, and I feel more professional and competent when I'm wearing them. I am determined to give the best Jodie confidence coach to my clients. So I do whatever is necessary to ensure that she turns up every single time. Maintaining your confidence levels takes work. So don't do or wear anything that jeopardizes your confidence. Clothes are so important, and that is why I'm excited to welcome Jen Lee Duggan to the episode today. Jen is the CEO and founder of Peak Women, a social impact brand designing corporate wear to help women build their confidence. Many women lack confidence at work, often keeping them from accessing pay rises, promotions, and other opportunities. Using the psychology of clothing, Peak Women have designed the confidence blazer that supports women to be more confident, empowered, and to stand out for all the right reasons to gain career success. After 12 years in the federal public service, Jen is dedicated to educating women to understand the importance of how we dress and the impact our clothing choices have on our mindset, what we project to others, and how they perceive us. Jen is passionate about helping women to empower themselves to find work clothes that work for them. I am so excited about this conversation today. So, Jen, welcome to the Secrets of Confident Women podcast.
Hi, Jodie. Thank you so much for having me today. I am thrilled to be having this conversation with you because I know that it's something that is really important to you, as you've said in your introduction, and something that I'm very passionate about. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun talking about it today.
Absolutely. And one, clothes are great. I love talking about clothes. But two, it just makes such a difference. And I'm still so surprised, even with some of my clients, that I think sometimes they remembered that they used to feel good in certain clothes. And then, I don't know whether COVID wrecked us or something, we all got comfy cozy in our track pants and our slippers working from home. And I've been working from home for, best part of 20 years. So I remember saying to even my girlfriends that then transitioned to working from home, they're like, oh my God, I just don't feel like it's working. And I'm like, are you sitting in your track pants and your slippers? They're like, yes. I'm like, girlfriend, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. So it's great that we're sort of having this conversation. And I love the concept of what you've created with Peak Women. So we're going to talk all about that today.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think COVID is definitely a big part of it, and being comfortable. So I think comfort is really important when we do try and find something to wear to work. But also I think even before that, it's the thought of nobody should be judging me on what I wear, or nobody can tell me what to wear anymore. So instead we're doing ourselves a disservice and dressing down. And I call it the trough of the way that we dress for work. And that's why I've called it Peak Women, because I want us to get back on that peak trajectory.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree. Fantastic. No one should judge you. You should be able to wear what you want, blah, blah, blah. Fine, fine, fine. But it's about how you feel. And I've had lots of, we always have a shoe thing going on in this podcast. And, we've had over the years lots of different people say, oh, I'm a flats girl. I love actually wearing gumboots. Actually, I do, bare feet. And I'm like, no problem if it works for you. But for me, a pair of high heels, if I'm presenting to a room full of people, is an absolute must. So tell us a little bit more. Obviously, there's a little bit of intro about your business, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and Peak Women and how you got that started.
As you mentioned in the intro, I have been in the Federal Public Service for over 12 years now. And one thing that I noticed when I was kind of starting to think about this was the way that women talk about the way that they dress is the same way that they talk about their career opportunities. And usually there's a lot of I can'ts, or I'm not ready. And, I could never wear red lipstick. I could never wear the high heels. I couldn't wear the suits that you wear. And I can't take that opportunity. I couldn't ask for that pay rise. I'm just not ready for that next step. And we kind of put ourselves into that really negative mindset about, who we are as employees, as professionals. And it just kind of came to me when I first started thinking about, I want to be able to wear bright, amazing suits and colors. And I actually found one in particular, which was a gray suit with a really light check through it. It was from Target. And it wasn't expensive, and I'd wear it to work, and all these women would say, oh my God, you look amazing. And I'd think, yeah, but there's no barrier here. Like, you could also wear this. Oh no, I could never wear it. And I was like, well, it's from Target. So it's not a financial reason. It's more you're putting yourself in that space of I just couldn't. And so that's when I thought through of how can we use this to empower women more and to stop saying I just couldn't. And that's why I wanted to provide a range that isn't your standards black, blues, greys. It's a little bit more fun, it's a little bit more feminine, and you can really bring out your own individual style with it as well.
I love it. I love it. So before we get more into the conversation about the psychology of clothes and your business and whatever, at the beginning of all our episodes, we ask a couple of questions. So what does confidence or being a confident woman mean to you?
I believe that it's about understanding your value and the value that you bring to each individual situation. And I think it's about understanding the value that we can provide in any given situation and then being able to articulate that both to ourselves and the other people in the room. So whether it be in an interview, I can articulate what I can bring in any scenario you're going to give me. In a meeting, I can articulate to myself how I can provide value in this situation and then lead off with that and go and provide that value.
You have to get confidence on the run. Like, you have to be in action, pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone, turning up to a podcast that you've never done before, turning up to do things to build that. But it's like that belief in yourself. And we talk about confidence being that you'll deal with anything that comes your way. That inner going, shit is going to come your way because that's life. And you know what? I'll manage it. I'll deal with whatever comes my way. And that's what we love to try to get people to focus on. But you've got to be in action. You've got to be doing stuff, haven't you?
Absolutely. And it could even be making the decision to not act, of I need to move this out of my life, or I need to not jump to saying, yes, I'll go and run off and do this thing for you, and standing up for yourself by saying, no, actually, I don't think that's something that's in my wheelhouse or whatever. It's just having that conviction that you know who you are, and you are important and you do have enough confidence.
And you got to do what you want, because I've got all my people pleasers and the ones who can't say no doing a whole lot of shit that they don't want to do. So, yes, it's like being in action, but your action might be to say no to a lot more things than you currently are. So that's good. When are you the most confident version of yourself, Jen?
So I'm a little bit of an ambivert. I like to say that I'm an ambivert. Everyone assumes that I'm an extrovert because I do get very passionate about things, but I'm not very high on the introvert extrovert scale into the extroversion side. But I get really hyped up in the moment. So I will get hyped up at an event with talking to other ladies, or, in a meeting where we're all discussing ideas and, talking to like-minded women about confidence and things. And I get really hyped up about that. And so that's when I come across as my most confident, because, I can feel the love. I've got a tribe of women around me, but I then get home from that, and that's usually when my introversion kicks in, and I am then thinking, did I say anything wrong? And I have to play everything in my head, and so it kind of swings. So that's kind of when I'm at my least confident, is usually right after that, when I'm going through like my little introversion stage. I do like to track my menstrual cycle. I find that, there are theories around when you should network and when you should, and all of that sort of stuff based on where you're at in your menstrual cycle. And I find that, setting up the networking or the engagement meetings at the time when you're at your best then really picks up from a confidence point of view. But that also gives me the opportunity to reflect and think, okay, today's a day where I might just need to lie on the couch under a blanket. And so then I feel confident that that is where I should be looking after myself. So rather than going, oh, I really just want to do this, but I can't because then I'll be lazy and everything, it kind of gives you that opportunity to see where you're sitting on any particular kind of day.
And it's sometimes okay to just be in a low state and need to watch a whole lot of Netflix. Like, it's okay. And then as long as you don't stay there for 10 years, that becomes the issue then. But yeah, but it's like being kind to ourselves, right? To know that there's going to be highs and lows of everything. Some days we're going to have great energy, other days we're just not. Yeah, I think that's a really important point, that our cycles and whatever, isn't corporate going to be an amazing place when women run the world? Like, we'll all have things are just going to work differently. That was never considered in the current environment.
No, that's it. Especially when they all start syncing up. We're all in like the raging energy moment, but then we're all like, okay, let's sit back and review what we've just done.
Everyone go back to their desk and nobody talk to me for 2 days. Now, through your business, you are educating women on the importance of how we dress and the impact it has on our mindset. So tell us about the research around this and the psychology around wearing a blazer to work.
The whole premise of the business is, yes, we have a product to sell. We are creating these blazers, but a very important part for me is education for women around the importance of how we dress on our own mindset. And I have done a bit of research around this just to kind of be able to confirm my own experiences with it even. And in 2012, there was a study that was done. They came up with the term enclothed cognition. And they got a whole heap of people to put on a white lab coat. And one group of people was told, your lab coat belongs to a surgeon or a doctor. And the other group of people were told, your lab coat belongs to a painter. And then they did a range of aptitude testing, and the people that believed that they were wearing the lab coat of a doctor or a surgeon or a highly intelligent individual outperformed those that were wearing the coat of a painter. And so it just kind of really looked into what happens when we believe that we are wearing something that represents a more intelligent occupation than another. And then on top of that, in 2015, there was some research that was done by a different university in America, specifically on blazers. It came up with the theory that if you wear a blazer to work, you are more likely to be able to make a decision. You are more likely to speak up. You can take on negative feedback better. I believe that this is linked back to that enclothed cognition thought process that I still believe that I belong. I still believe that I'm professional and that I am better equipped now to kind of for my day. So putting those together, we've made sure that we're kind of creating a blazer that women can wear and feel confident about it. But, also just educating that it's not just us. It's not a sales pitch. It is this. And, if it's not our blazer that you wear, think about adding blazers into your wardrobe if you're not already, because it important that we're kind of consciously going through that process. I talk about getting dressed of a morning, similar to listening to your favorite hype song. If you're going to have a rough day or had a rough day the day before, or someone's giving you a really rough time at work, listen to a bit of Tay-Tay, Shake It Off, and, have a little bit of a loud singing session in the car on the way to work, hypes you up to go about your day. The same thing can be said for how we get dressed of a morning. Put on that piece of clothing that is going to make you feel like you can tackle anything that someone's going to throw at you.
And that's been so important in my corporate world, and now going to a presentation or doing anything, I absolutely pre-think what it is I'm going to wear, how I'm going to show up. One, because I don't want to be at a presentation or at a corporate event feeling conscious about what I'm wearing, or that I've worn the wrong thing, or that it's not working, or I'm underdressed, or I don't want to include any of that conversation in my head. My head's going to have enough conversation going on. I don't need to feed it more stuff that isn't necessary. So that planning, especially for certain events. I know I work with a lot of corporate women who struggle with networking, who, if they're doing a presentation to the board of directors or those sorts of things, it surprises me how much they don't consider what they're going to wear beforehand. And I say to them, you should be preparing your mindset as much as your content. Like putting on a blazer, wearing a dress you feel amazing in, what shoes are you going to wear? You don't have to wear heels, but what is it that makes you feel like you can take on that challenge or take on the nerves and the fear and all the stuff that might come up when you're at a networking event or presenting to the board or doing a team presentation or something that is outside your comfort zone? The clothes and what you wear are important because you don't want to have that whole conversation that you've worn the wrong thing also in your head deal with that on the day.
Yeah. I had a lady that I was mentoring at work, and she was preparing for an interview, and I said to her, what are you going to wear? And she's like, I'll probably just wear this blouse that I have. And I said, do you have a blazer? And she said, yeah. I said, how do you feel when you put the blazer on? And she said, like I'm going to get the job. And I said, so why are we not wearing this to every single interview that you're going to? When they actually stop and think about it, it is, oh yeah, that is a thing. And to me, it's about standing up for the right reasons. We want people to sit up and pay attention when we walk into the room. If we're there to give a speech, especially, or if we're there to present to the board, if we're networking, maybe if you're there to present to the board, you don't want anything too bright because you especially if it's a board full of stuffy old men that aren't loud and opinionated women, but at a networking event, definitely wear the standout blazer or that signature piece that is a conversation creator so that people are like, I love that jacket. And that breaks the ice for you, especially if you're nervous about going into those situations.
If you're the supervisor and you want to be the manager, they've got to see you as the manager. Yes, it's going to be about your behavior, but as much as we hate to think that it's people take us about how we look as well, they do. So it's just, that's the way we work. So work with that rather than against it. Do yourself the best favor of trying to get the job or trying to get the next position or trying to feel good. And as I said, it works for you as much as how people see you as well.
It's taking that piece of enclosed cognition and, dressing for the job you want is basically that enclosed cognition. Do you believe, that you are ready for a promotion and things? But then I think it's also, the conscious, we talk about the unconscious bias and how that is still standing in the way for a lot of women. But the conscious bias still exists. It's now just silent. And a lot of the time you will not receive tangible feedback because they'll just say, oh, it's just a vibe. I didn't like that person. And they won't be able to say it's because I don't like what you're wearing or I think that you're not dressed as professionally as I would expect. But if you're there to represent a company, if you're there to represent an organization, they need to feel confident in you that you are going to do a good job on their behalf. So what are you doing for your own mindset when you get up and you get dressed of a morning? That will then impact your body language, your tone of voice, what you're actually contributing to the conversations. And then that will impact how people are perceiving you as professional or unprofessional. If you went to a cafe and the waitress had, or the waiter had dirty clothes, wrinkled clothes, dirt under their fingernails and everything, and they put a plate down on your table, you would feel a little bit uncomfortable about eating from that plate because that is their professional representation of themselves. It's the same way in the corporate world. How are you representing yourself, your professionalism, and the organization that you work for when you step out into the world?
Absolutely. You can see confidence walk in a room, right? You can see, and often with my clients, I'm saying, okay, so what is that? What does she, when you see confidence, what are they projecting? And they're like, oh, body language, how they're dressed, have they taken care of themselves, blah, blah, all the links. Are they using eye contact? All those sorts of things. The important part of that is when you perceive someone as confident, you treat that person that way. Like if they've taken care of themselves and they look the part and they look like they deserve the job, you treat them that way. So, it's that reciprocal. You feel good, but then people treat you almost how you project yourself. So that's so important in the corporate world as well because you're bumping up against a lot of other humans that have their own things going on, but you've got to feel good and give yourself the best opportunity for them to treat you how you respect yourself as well. So how is your confidence blazer? How have you taken all that information and incorporated that into your design?
Our most unique feature of the confidence blazer is the positive affirmations that we've printed on the lining on the inside of the jacket.
I love that.
So, we've got all the research that, yes, if you put that blazer on, it's automatically going to give you a boost, but then we've added that extra positive affirmation in there. The current range says, being you is your superpower. So that when you put that on, you're reinforcing that in your own mind. And, it's in the lining. Nobody else knows it's there. It's just that extra little strength to your armor when you go about your day.
Yes, I love that.
It's that. But then, as I said, we've stayed away from your standard more male and masculine colors of the black, blues and grays. So we're doing bright colors. We're doing florals, things that you wouldn't normally see. I do know that they're becoming more and more popular at the moment. So, just being able to have that still a little bit of individuality about it. We've got pockets on both the outside and the inside. So, you've got room for, like, I don't ever carry a handbag. There is space for all of that. And, we've lowered those inside pockets so they sit below the bust so you don't have stuff sitting up against your breast or anything like that. We wanted to make sure that it was comfortable, so we've kind of broadened the top of the sleeve. We've put the double vent in the back, all kind of areas where it can get a little bit tight so that it's still comfortable. The internal lining is a cotton rayon blend so that it's not the polyester lining, which can absorb odors and things like that, so it's still going to stay fresh. But then the outside is a polyester which we've gone with the polyester at the moment because it's the best option for us that has the colours available, but also it is wrinkle resistant. It's not going to crush as soon as you put it on. And also it's really easy to spot clean. So the rose colour that we have, I wore to our launch party, got rib sauce on it. And I was like, of course I did.
Yes.
Came home the next day, got out like a wet wipe and just kind of gave it a little bit of a wipe and it was gone. So, even if it gets stained or anything like that, like it's pretty easy to clean up. Everything about it is kind of, yes, I'm putting it on the blazer. It's got the positive affirmations on it. It's easy to wear. It's not going to kind of wrinkle really easily. So then you're self-conscious of that. It's like all of these design aspects that we've put into it.
Love it. And it's feminine. Like they look like they've got a nice shape to them. That's not like it's a man's design it's got a little bit of femininity to the shape of it. It's like, it's gorgeous. It's really, you've done a great job. I love the affirmation thing. That's a great little reminder in the day going, girlfriend, you got this.
That's it. And then we've got the pants that we've matched with it as well, just as a side note. So in that, we've actually added elastic in the waistband just above the back of each hip so that you can eat lunch through the day, or you can have a bigger day and a skinnier day like we all have depending on what day the month it is. So it's kind of like pushing that through to the trousers as well so that you can feel a little bit comfortable in those, because that's, at the end of the day, as we said, comfort is a big factor. And if you're uncomfortable, if you're sitting in an interview and you've got an itch because your clothes are too tight or uncomfortable, it's going to impact how you come across.
Yeah, absolutely. So important. So, a blazer isn't for everybody. So how do women find out what works best for them personally?
We think about, when we talk about enclothed cognition and the research behind a blazer, I think for a lot of women, they do have trouble to find one that fits. So I think once you've kind of had that issue in the past, you're more likely to disregard it. So I do recommend people go and try a range of different brands. There's so many different options now, and blazers are very, very popular. But a blazer isn't going to be for everyone. So I like to talk about say yes to the dress, but the corporate edition. Stock your wardrobe or go out with your friends and kind of try on different clothing and different styles, different colors, and have a look, either record it yourself or get your friends to kind of observe so that they can say, your body language, you've just stood up so much straighter, or you've got a massive smile on your face as soon as you put something on. Like, we can't see it in ourselves a lot of the time because we're going, oh, I don't like that it's a bit tight there, and I don't like, that you can see this bit of bulge or whatever it is. So if other people are looking at it, they're looking at things that you can't perceive. And it might not be a blazer. It might be, I really like to wear the color red, or the heels, or, sexy lingerie underneath. Nobody else can see it, but I feel better wearing matching sets.
That's right. A good bra is like invaluable. Like, just, you need to make sure you've got a good bra and undie set. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, just like not the ones with the holes in them that you should have thrown out like 5 years ago. Like, just get yourself some new underwear. I love what you're saying there about having other people around, because we do get stuck in, oh, well, I'll just buy the black thing again and again, what have you. And the best corporate dress I ever had was, I went into, it was David Jones actually, and on the day, I must have just got so fortunate. I got a great sales lady who knew her stuff. Like, she sort of knew what I was trying to get, and I had another dress, and she was just like, try this on. And I was like, oh, like completely nothing I would pick up off the rack. She's like, I promise you, I've seen it on. It's awesome. Get it on. And they're the ones I bought. The ones that I did not pick up off the rack to try on, but that she encouraged me to try on. And once I'd put them on, I was like, oh my God, that works. So sometimes that someone else even daring to sort of push you into something a little bit different, or that, you might not choose yourself, like that color or something like that. You got to just try some stuff on, and just, again, go with a good pair of bra and undies and some easy slip-off shoes, because I know trying on clothes is sometimes a nightmare, but be prepared to just go and try things on and see how it feels, see what they look like, find some different styles that make you feel good,
Absolutely. And I think that, other people providing you something to go, hey, how about you try this on? we are socialized as women to keep ourselves small and to keep ourselves hidden. So we are going to gravitate towards the blacks. And I have had women say to me before, the black makes me feel more confident. And again, I talk about women's power suits from the 80s and the 90s and the blacks and the greys and the blues that we wear as our camouflage. When we first started stepping out of being secretaries into the more corporate space, it was one woman in a sea of men. We didn't want to stand out.
And she had shoulder pads on, Dal.
So we had shoulder pads to make us look like the same shape as men. We had slicked back hair, and we wore the same color suits that they did. Men have worn the same thing for over 100 years. Now they may throw in a fancy sock just to mix it up a little bit. But like how we dressed
I think no socks are the new trend.
Oh, and doesn't that upset some of the older generation? Oh, he hasn't got any socks on. I definitely don't like that, because it is confronting and it's bold in front of them. But, they're usually the go-getters that are the ones that are going to get promoted. So I definitely think having that other person there to go, yes, how about we try this on, and then filming or showing or talking through like what it does to how you're being perceived by them is what matters.
And even if you've got a uniform or something, maybe it's more about your grooming and how you feel and that lipstick color, or, I just recently got red glasses, and I've always gone black, and I was like, I'm going to push the boundary here. And initially I was like, oh, hang on. But then I got used to it. It's just sometimes it's that first little while with a different coloured lipstick, or get a scarf, or, just a different shoe, something. But just keep pushing the boundaries. Isn't that the spice of life anyway? A little bit of excitement and fun and pushing boundaries in your life. But it doesn't need to be a whole outfit. It might just be accessories or what have you.
Yeah, that's it. Like you said, could be a scarf, even a perfume. I know some ladies that are like, I'm wearing my power perfume today.
Yes. Oh, power. See, I've never thought about that, but that is a very good point. We need power perfumes. Everyone needs a power perfume. There you go. Now, I know your business is very women-focused from a product perspective, but you also have a very strong business principle around supporting women through manufacturing and giving back. So tell us a little bit more about these principles and why empowering women through your business is so important to you.
One of the things that I really wanted to make sure that we did right was picking a manufacturer that was not taking advantage of women. Our whole concept is about empowering women and building them up in their careers and their jobs. So to be using a sweatshop or an organisation that's taking advantage of women on one hand just to empower women with our products didn't really make sense to me. And so it was very hard to find a manufacturer that had a really strong social impact, but we have partnered with one in Vietnam who employ women in need, victims of domestic violence, single mothers, and they have a really great training program that it's not just here's your sewing machine, this is now the job that you do. They kind of train them up in different areas of the industry so that if they want to kind of pursue different avenues, it creates their own career path for them. And they also have a really strong social give back policy for their local community as well. So, when it's festive season and everything, they give back big hampers and everything to their local community. So that was something that was really, really important to us. And then the other thing that's important to us is making sure that we're supporting local organisations that align with our values. So part of the education piece is I work with organisations that are supporting women to re-enter the workforce after surviving financial abuse and situations where, they had to leave work. So part of the profits that we make will go into financially supporting those organisations as well. And then, of course, if we are, stock exchanging down the, end of the run stock, we'll be providing stock back to those organisations as well to dress women for interviews and starting their jobs. So it's very much a women supporting women business. Like by purchasing from us, not only are you empowering yourself to take, that next step in your career journey or to build that bit of confidence, but you're also empowering women when they're making the product, but then after when we're donating the money back to them as well. So
I worked with an organisation years ago a charity organisation. I was doing presentations for women in need, sort of got out of domestic violence, had to leave partners and whatever. And we had another organisation that did the clothing thing come in and talk to them all and give them all like a 1-hour appointment to go into the shop and find things, because it was about getting them clothes for interviews and things like that so that they could get themselves back up on their feet. And not having something to wear to an interview will stop you from going to an interview, of course. So those organisations are just amazing. And for other women out there, I know I've just gone through some stuff in my wardrobe, and there's some really great sort of corporate focused stuff that I won't wear again. And I've got it in a pile ready to take to one of those organisations. So I employ anyone out there who might have some corporate gear that you can do. Don't just sort of throw it in any old clothing bin. Like, there's plenty of them. Go and find one of those organisations who really help set up women for interviews to make them feel better. Because again, there's the clothing thing. They feel better because they look the part and they have an outfit that is appropriate to a job interview. And that helps them get a job interview. So exactly what we've been talking about today, we need to help those women as well.
Absolutely.
So at the end of all of our podcasts, we have our Rise Women Power questions. So what, Jen, do you wish every woman knew?
You have enough confidence. Stop waiting for somebody to deliver it to you in some tangible way that you can understand. There is no magic secret recipe. You already have it. It's just about being able to articulate your values.
Absolutely. And what is your superpower?
Being me. Same as our lining of our jackets.
Fabulous. Oh, that's a good answer. Now we've talked about heels and flats. Are you a heels or a flats?
My baby is 5 months old now. So I have been in nothing but flats for 12 months.
Yes, of course.
So none of my heels really even fit me anymore. I wore heels once to an event that we went to in March, I think, and it was 7:00 on a Monday night, and I had to walk back to the car in bare feet, and I was like, "This is
oh my goodness,
this is terrible." I look like I have been out clubbing all night long on a Saturday, but no, it's 7 p.m. on a Monday, and I've had to walk home bare feet.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. Your favourite quote or rule that you live by?
There are so many, particularly around dressing, but I'm going to go with Amelia Earhart. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity.
Oh, I love that. We haven't had that one before, and surprisingly, because that is a good one. Who inspires you and why?
This is a really hard one for me to answer because there are so many amazing women out there, and every event or podcast that I listen to, I'm always like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. But I am going to flip the script here a little bit, and I'm going to say RuPaul as the most famous drag queen in the world. She has built her empire. She's built a platform for other drag queens to kind of share their story and their art. She has so many good messages about loving yourself and being unashamedly you and working through kind of your inner demons to be able to present your best self to the world because you are special. And you know, just being you is the best thing. And of course, I love when she's wearing her Klein Epstein Parker suits. For anyone that doesn't know the show, RuPaul's Drag Race, or doesn't know RuPaul, like obviously most beautiful man in a dress that you've ever seen, but then also like in like boy dress is just most stunningly dressed, suited man.
Uses clothes to his power for sure.
Yeah.
And finish this sentence. If I had even more confidence than I do now, I would
have achieved all of the things that I want to achieve with this business. I have suffered from self-doubt along this journey. There was a time where I have stopped.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking through this question, I was like, oh, what would I do? And I'm like, I would already be ahead of where I am now. Like I would have already been at that next hurdle. I would be sharing my message on a much larger platform, which is why I'm reaching out to people like you, Jodie, to go, yes, I have something that, you know, I really want to share with other women. So,
but you're doing it. That's it. You're here and you're doing it. So that's a great thing. I've got a quote up on my wall that I live by going, you're in exactly the right place for now. That, you know, sometimes we have to go through things, learn things. Sometimes I just believe that all the timing for everything we need is falling out in exactly the right place. So you're in exactly the right place you need to be for now. And now it's time to push the boundaries and get out there. And here you are. So thank you so much for coming on. I wish you all the best with the business, and I can't wait to be close to you to try on one of those blazers. But for anyone, we'll put the link to your website on our show notes. So go and have a look at Peak Women and go and see the clothing range. But thank you so much. And I think it's so wonderful what you're doing in all aspects of your business. It's going to make a real difference, and probably a real difference to women that you'll never meet, right? But it's trusting that your clothes and your message and what you do for them, there's going to be some woman somewhere that looks inside that jacket and sees that quote and does something different, and it might just change her life. And, you'll never know about it, but it happens. So I wish you all the luck with it.
No, thank you so much, Jodie. And it's been great. And I agree with you. There will be some women that I will help that I probably will never see. And being at home on maternity leave means that I'm not out at work and being able to see people in blazers. But the day I see somebody like walking around in my clothes is the day that you go, oh, look at that. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that as sales kick off and we start kind of rolling them out.
Excellent. Love it. And thank you to everyone for listening today. And remember, there are so many ways that we can help you become the confident woman you've always wanted to be. So please get in touch with us or visit risewomen.com. We want to ensure that confidence is every woman's new normal by getting our programs and resources out there to as many women as possible. So until next time, remember, put on a blazer and kick off your confidence, because with confidence, anything is possible. Bye for now.